Hey guys, Michael Pizzulo here, psychotherapist in West Hollywood. Want to talk to you about gay men and porn addiction. So I think most people have a somewhat regular habit of watching porn, often started when you're pretty young and just sort of becomes a consistent thing. But for some people, they really feel like they have a problem and may even call it an addiction. So just so you know, porn addiction is not technically recognized by any of the, psychological establishments. So you're not going to see it in a journal or an insurance panel or a diagnosis. That doesn't mean it's not real. There's plenty of mental health things that are not technically deemed diagnosable, but that does not mean that they're not valid and legitimate, and I think this is definitely one of them. So if you think that you have this problem, here are a few things that I would suggest that you keep in mind, and then ways you can treat it. So first is people that struggle with this will often notice a couple things. One is they'll notice that they develop some erectile dysfunction with real sex because they're so used to getting aroused by visual stimuli that they become just less accustomed to physical sensation and touch and flirtation and so on and so forth. So if you notice that happening, that could be a sign that you're using too much porn. The other thing is that the porn that they do watch, they notice an increase in intensity. Sort of like any other drug, you have to keep upping the ante to get the high. So people often find that they start looking for more extreme things being depicted, more graphic things. Often sort of sexual dynamics they're not actually organically interested in, which can bring up a lot of shame later on because they don't understand why they're, seeking this out. So that's definitely a sign that you may have some sort of porn issue, addiction, compulsion, whatever you want to call it. And the other thing I think is just time. If it's a few minutes a day or if it's hours, if it's really taking up a big chunk of your life, that's something to definitely consider as well. So a couple things to get started. One is just do a break, do a cleanse. I would say take 30, 60, 90 days off would be fantastic if you can do it. I think most people haven't gone that long without any kind of porn use probably since, again, they were a teenager. This can be tricky with social media. I think with, more graphic sites where you're looking for legitimate sex, it's easier to avoid, but social media, pornographic stuff can be just sort of sprinkled in there. So I would consider just doing a social media break also, especially something like Twitter where they legitimately allow pornographic stuff. But even other stuff like your Instagrams and whatnot, you're going to see a lot of suggestive content and so on and so forth that can really easily trigger someone to go look for something more. So I would encourage you to take a cleanse and take a break from all of it. And then while you're doing that, I would really encourage you to practice what's known as mindful masturbation, which is really simple. It's just a masturbation practice that does not involve any kind of porn or visual stimuli. So it's much more focused on physical sensations. You can still use the power of imagination and fantasy, that's all fine, but you're not taking in any sort of visual external thing to get yourself aroused. So I'd encourage you to give that a try also. It can be just a great way to get back into your body and, again, break the connection from needing some sort of video or image. And then last thing, if you are a gay man and you're struggling with porn addiction, definitely seek out help, but seek out specialized help. There are a lot of nuances that to gay men and our sexuality that people don't know. So I would definitely recommend working with a gay therapist or someone who just really knows our community and our psychology. I think what happens is that it's really easy for people to pathologize the sexual behaviors of gay men. And it's really problematic because people are coming in because they already have shame about something sexual. So if you add on to it, they're just going to feel worse. And if we know anything about addictions, is that shame just fuels the cycle. It doesn't help people stop. So definitely find someone who's specialized in working with gay men and with porn addiction as well, because it is definitely more of a niche thing that not everyone is going to have a robust understanding of. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, you want any advice, you can contact me directly. And happy to share some of the information and knowledge I have. So thanks, guys.